Nationwide at 5.
Good afternoon, I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Nora Gay Banton.
In Nationwide news at this hour, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness appeals for national unity as he's sworn in for a third time.
Now, my friends, the elections are over. We must reunite and refocus on the business of the nation. The time has come.
The Prime Minister made the call in his inaugural address at King's House a short while ago.
Candidates who contested the general election have until tomorrow to remove campaign material.
6-month peace shattered in Marvelly with murder of 2-year-old boy.
21 guns and more than 1,000 bullets seized in Manchester since the start of the year.
In news from the rest of the world, the former health minister nominated to be second president of Barbados.
Prosecutors will seek the death penalty for the suspect in the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk.
In headline sports, Jamaica eyes more medals at World Championships in long jump on Wednesday.
And later in our broadcast, in the cover story at 5:35, well, a little later than 5:35, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness was sworn in for a fourth time at King's House a short while ago. Our panel of analysts will react to Dr. Holness's inaugural address.
In public opinion at 6:26, we ask, do you expect any surprises in the new cabinet? Give us your comments by logging on to our Facebook page, Nationwide News Network, and by tweeting us at Nationwide Radio and message us on WhatsApp at 876-285-5693. You can also leave your comments on Instagram at Nationwide 90FM.
In the nation's business, we'll discuss the key highlights coming from the swearing in of the Prime Minister. Political commentator Jermaine Barrett, political historian Wayne Chen, and the CEO of Nationwide News Network Cliff Hughes will join us.
At 8, it's Prescription for Life with Dr. Andre McDonald.
All these and more as we take you home on air on your mobile, Nationwide 90FM, RevoNews.ai, and on the Revo News app. It's available on the Google Play and the App Store. This Tuesday afternoon, it's Tuesday, September 16, 2025.
If it's news, it's got to be Nationwide 90 FM.
And now to the details. Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness has called for national unity as he begins his third term in office. He says the time has come for the country to move beyond the election.
I stand before you deeply humbled and profoundly grateful to accept the people's mandate to once again serve as your one Prime Minister. Now, my friends, the elections are over. We must reunite and refocus on the business of the nation. The time has come where we must get over the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, put aside haughtiness and bitterness, unfold our arms, unclench our fists, retract accusatory fingers, and embrace each other. Regardless of the outcome, we must choose Jamaica.
Holness's appeal for unity comes amid concerns from the opposition PNP about irregularities in the September 3 general election. The opposition has specifically raised questions about the outcome of the election in Holness's West Central St. Andrew constituency. The Prime Minister asked opposition leader Mark Golding to recommit to making the country a republic.
I recommit to leading an inclusive and consultative government. I extend my hand to the leader of the opposition to create a space for the national interest. Mark, let us partner together to complete the work we started on making Jamaica a republic. I look forward to continuing the work with all stakeholders, the National Partnership Council, the church, unions, youth, the business community, and civil society generally. Let us all work hand in hand to build the progressive and prosperous Jamaica we all want.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness. Dr. Holness was officially sworn in for a fourth time as the head of government in a ceremony at King's House this afternoon.
Meanwhile, the Prime Minister emphasized the success of his past administrations.
Together we made Jamaica a story not of decline, but a story of renewal. Step by step, year by year, we worked with discipline and determination to repair the damage of decades of mismanagement and misadventures. We brought order and stability to the public finances. We cut the debt to GDP in half to now 62.4%, restored fiscal credibility and balanced budgets without imposing new taxes, created hundreds of thousands of new jobs, giving our people new opportunities to work and prosper and reduce unemployment to historic lows of 3.3%.
But he made it clear that there's much more to be done to move Jamaica towards prosperity.
As proud as I am of our achievements, I do not stand before you today to recite them as if they were the destination. What we have achieved so far has simply been to repair the breach and correct decades of mismanagement and misadventure, and undo the consequences of reckless policies that nearly broke this country. We have stabilized the ship, set the destination, and laid the foundation upon which we must build a greater vision. We are destined for more. Our people are too talented, our culture too rich, our geography too strategic, and our history too proud for us to stop short of greatness.
Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness, he was making his inaugural address at King's House Tuesday afternoon.
The political ombudsman is reminding political parties, candidates and their agents of tomorrow's deadline to remove election-related paraphernalia and advertisements. The political ombudsman says under the law, political representatives are required to remove all campaign materials within 14 days of a general election. The election was held on September 3. Items to be removed include posters, banners, billboards, murals, painted slogans, flags, streamers, stickers, placards and ribbons from public and private property. The Ombudsman is commending stakeholders who have commenced cleanup activities in compliance with the law. Members of the public are encouraged to assist in restoring order by reporting campaign materials left in place after tomorrow's deadline.
6 months of peace in Marvelly St. Andrew came to a violent end on Monday after armed thugs murdered 2 people, including a 2-year-old child. Dead are 2-year-old Tejon Jackson and 25-year-old Kimali Powell, otherwise known as Beans, a business operator in the area. One resident claims the child was deliberately targeted as the gunmen believed the baby was related to the man they went after. Shalois Michael has the details.
The murders occurred on Grenmead Road sometime after 7 Monday evening. It's understood the toddler was in the company of 2 men when a Nissan motor car drove past them. The car then turned around and upon reaching the spot where the victims were seated, the occupants opened gunfire, hitting all 3. It's understood Powell tried to escape, but was chased and shot several times. He collapsed and the gunman re-entered the vehicle and drove off. The 2-year-old was reportedly shot in the neck, while Powell was hit in the chest. According to a female resident in the area, Powell was deliberately targeted.
Me hear the gunshot them. When me reach out now, me see the baby a bleed, which now the person who did the shooting thought it was his baby and killed the baby on the spot. I think it was my grandson child, which they came for him because they bawl out and says that him and him baby.
Commanding officer for the St. Andrews South Police, SSP Damian Manderson, says the police are following every lead to bring the hoodlums to justice. He says the incident has shattered the 6 months stretch of calm in the Marvelly community.
Last incident in February of this year. Since then, our police and joint activities with the stakeholders here would have brought about some level of peace and quietude, but that was shattered last night. This, we believe, is stemming from years of gang situation between top and bottom Marvelly that keep resurging in spite of the work that we have put in place.
The senior lawman says a curfew will be imposed in the community.
We also want to appeal to residents to be patient with us as we impose curfews within the community in a bid to curtail the free movement of especially criminals and to seek to work the part of the toolkit and process to restore peace and harmony in the community. As we impose a 48-hour curfew started this evening, we ask for them to work with us.
Shalois Michael for Nationwide News.
Meanwhile, SSP Manderson is reiterating calls for Courtney Ashley, otherwise known as Bloodstain, to turn himself in to the police. Ashley is one of St. Andrews South's most wanted.
Let me use the opportunity to make a special call out to Courtney Ashley. He goes by the name Bloodstain, Stain, Evil, Alien, Biggs, and all the other names that his cronies give him out there in the criminal underworld. We're appealing to him, and in fact, I'm being very instructive to him that wherever he is, to turn himself into the nearest police station so that the length of the law can have its course.
Senior Superintendent Damian Manderson, commanding officer for the St. Andrews South Police. Bloodstain is urged to turn himself in no later than 6 p.m. tomorrow. Anyone with information on his whereabouts should contact Crime Stop at 311 or the police emergency number 911. You're listening to the news on Nationwide at 5. We'll have more after these.
Clear your barrels and personal shipments with ease and convenience. Request a customs contactless clearance today through CCP at jca.gov.jm. The time by the Jamaica Customs Agency is...
It's 5:46.
Burn Shack fried chicken always ready. Burn Shack original crispy. Burn Shack Cajun spicy. Burn Shack a barbecue. Burn Shack we are go Burn Shack.
The temperature brought to you by Bird Shack Fried Chicken in Montego Bay and Ochivios is...
It's 32 degrees Celsius in capital city Kingston, 25 out west in Montego Bay.
Do it for your best life, do it. Go check your HIV status, do it. So keep your life trending, no pretending. Me I tell yourself do it for you, do it for you. Every time you are link with a condom. Coulda Ozzy, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Condom connect and protect your profile. Be your own fan, do it for your best life. Do it for your best life. Do it, don't put yourself at risk. Condom connect every time. Do it for your best life. Do it.
Continuing the news, the Manchester Police are reporting the seizure of 21 illegal firearms and more than 1,000 rounds of ammunition since the start of the year. The latest seizures occurred in a two-part operation in the Battersea area on Monday. Head of the Manchester Police Superintendent Kerry Duncan provided the details.
Members of the Manchester Operations Support Unit were out conducting patrol in the northern section of the parish when they saw and signaled a Toyota Mark X to stop. The driver disobeyed and sped off along the Battersea main road. The police later intercepted the vehicle and 2 men were found on board. The vehicle was searched in their presence and one SSCY 9mm semi-automatic pistol loaded with 13 9mm cartridges was found. Both men were taken into custody for breaches of the Firearms Act.
Superintendent Duncan said the police, acting on intelligence, returned to the Battersea area later that evening. This led to the seizure of another gun and additional rounds.
There they saw a group of about 4 men searching an area close to where the vehicle was intercepted earlier. The men, on seeing the police, ran off in different directions. The police team conducted a subsequent search and a Taurus 9mm semi-automatic pistol loaded with 17 rounds of ammunition was also recovered.
Superintendent Kerry Duncan, head of the Manchester Police.
Meanwhile, the superintendent says a man suspected of committing a robbery in Kingston was apprehended in Manchester on Monday. He was nabbed on Greenvale Main Road with a large quantity of cash in his possession.
About 11:30 a.m., a vehicle fitting the description of the vehicle that was reported in Kingston was spotted along the Greenvale Main Road. The vehicle was intercepted. One man was found on board. The vehicle, as also the man, was thoroughly searched, and a large sum of money, including Jamaican and United States currency, was found on his person. The man was taken into custody pending further investigation in the alleged robbery.
Superintendent Kerry Duncan, the commanding officer of the Manchester Police.
World in a Minute is brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
The World in a Minute.
Barbadian Prime Minister Mia Mottley and her opposition counterpart Ralph Thorne have jointly nominated Jeffrey Bostic to be the President of Barbados. Bostic, who was previously the country's health minister, would be the second person to hold the post of Barbadian President. He is set to succeed Dame Sandra Mason, who was the last Governor General of the country before it became a republic in 2021. The Barbadian Constitution requires both the Prime Minister and Leader of the Opposition to jointly nominate an individual as head of state. The nominee then faces a vote of the country's electoral college. The college is made up of members of both houses of the Barbadian Parliament.
Prosecutors in the U.S. state of Utah say they will seek the death penalty for the suspect in the murder of conservative activist Charlie Kirk. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson has been charged with aggravated murder, obstruction of justice for disposing of evidence, and witness tampering. Prosecutors revealed some of the evidence they have against him, including alleged text messages in which he appeared to confess to the crime. Robinson is alleged to have told his roommate and romantic partner that he had heard enough of Kirk's hatred. Robinson is accused of firing the single rifle shot that pierced Kirk's neck last Wednesday on the campus of Utah Valley University. The prosecutor said he had made the decision to seek the death penalty independently based solely on the available evidence and circumstances and nature of the crime. Some politicians, including U.S. President Donald Trump, had called for the death penalty in the case.
World in a Minute was brought to you by ABC Electrical Sales. We make things as easy as ABC. Hose Assembly and Supply, equipping Jamaica for success.
And Charles O'Connor Consulting Network, COCN, driven by international accounting standards, modern technology and integrity.
Recapping the top stories making nationwide news at this hour, Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness appeals for national unity as he's sworn in for a third term.
Now, my friends, the elections are over. We must reunite and refocus on the business of the nation. The time has come.
The Prime Minister made the call in his inaugural address at King's House a short while ago.
Candidates who contested the general election have until tomorrow to remove their campaign material.
6-month peace shattered in Marvelly with murder of 2-year-old boy.
I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Nora Gay Banton.
Listeners, you can find the news on our website at revonews.ai and on the Revo News app, available on the Google Play and the App Store. Sports is next.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from your daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. This summer, enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Isle, Couples Sans Souci, Couples Negril, or Couples Swept Away from $295 USD per night. Take advantage of this offer today by visiting Couples Resorts at couples.com. Conditions apply.
Don't fall victim to deepfakes.
Watch out.
Protect yourself.
What is the
For more
on the TV?
information, visit broadcastingcommission.org or
Here,
scan
baby.
the QR code on screen.
Deepfake. No deepfake can't catch me.
Junior, you know say AI can make something will look and sound just like you? One day Junior get a voice note from her granny. Say the food done, the medication done, and she need money urgently.
Need money urgently? But Miss Pat no like ask people for things.
And as so comes, Judy get suspicious.
So what she do?
She asks the neighbor to go check pan her. Junior, the lady quite alright over there make her Sunday dinner.
So the voice note a deep fake?
Yes, my love. Come, your food ready.
Right now it look like we have to outsmart the AI. But wait, I really want dege dumpling here, give me.
Me I wonder if AI can make one deep fake dumpling for you.
To learn more about deepfakes, visit www.broadcastingcommission.org.
Sports at 5 is brought to you by Total Tools. Total Tools, every tool, every trade.
Good afternoon with your sports report. I am Alex Swaby.
And I'm Maureen Buchanan.
We start with track and the field as Jamaica will look to bolster its medal tally at the World Athletics Championships on Wednesday as several top athletes are set to take the stage in what promises to be an action-packed day. Tajay Gale and Nikolai Williams will spearhead the country's field event hopes when they contest the final of the men's long jump. Gale, the 2019 world champion, will be aiming to reclaim global glory, while Williams is hoping to make a statement of his own and land on the podium. In the sprint, a trio of Jamaican men, Adrian Kerr, Christopher Taylor and Brian Lavelle, will line up in the heats of the men's 200 meters. All three will be hoping to advance to the semi-finals and keep Jamaica's sprint legacy alive on the world stage. On the women's side, Shericka Jackson headlines the 200-meter heats, joined by Ashanti Moore and Gabrielle Matthews. Jackson, the reigning world champion and one of the gold medal favourites, will be looking to cruise through the early rounds with a dominant performance. In the women's 400 meters hurdle semi-finals, Anjanette Knight and Cheyenne Salmon will attempt to secure places in the final. Both athletes have shown strong form this season and will need to be at their best against a deep field. Meanwhile, in the men's triple jump, Jordan Scott will look to make his mark and advance to the final round as he continues his championships campaign. With 9 athletes in action across track and field events, Wednesday presents a golden opportunity for Jamaica to add to its medal haul and further asserts its dominance in global athletics.
Nikisha Price will carry Jamaica's hopes in the women's 400-meter final at the World Athletics Championships in Tokyo. This after delivering a season's best performance of 49.46 seconds to qualify on time from the semi-finals. Price showed impressive composure and strength over the final 100 meters, surged through the line to secure a spot in Thursday's final as one of the fastest non-automatic qualifiers. Her time not only marked her fastest this season but also stood among the top performances across the 3 semi-finals. Unfortunately, our compatriots Dejani Oakley and Stacey Williams were unable to advance. Oakley finished 7th in semi-final 1 with a time of 51.42 seconds, while Williams placed 5th in semi-final 2, clocking 50.39 seconds, just outside the qualification spots. Oakley says her inexperience contributed to her failure to advance.
I just think that it didn't happen because, like you said, it's like my first time here. And I feel like the field that I went up against was very experienced at performing at this level. So I think just getting more experience and coming back the next time, I'll be able to go out there and do the time that was run today, because my season best is better than what won my heat. So I felt like I just didn't have the experience going up against these ladies.
Dejani Oakley. The final of the women's 400 meters is set for Thursday.
And finally, in cricket, veteran cricket commentator Joseph Reds Pereira has raised serious concerns over the West Indies' grueling overseas schedule announced by Cricket West Indies on Tuesday. Reds calls into question the rationale behind scheduling 22 international matches abroad across 3 formats in just under 3 months. CWI revealed that the West Indies senior men's team will conclude a busy 2025 calendar with a high-profile series of overseas tours, including matches in India, Bangladesh and New Zealand from October to December. Pereira described the schedule as unrealistic and potentially damaging, especially considering the physical demands on players, travel fatigue and the need for rest and recovery between series. The itinerary starts with a 2-test series in India, part of the ICC World Test Championships 2025 to 2027, taking place in Ahmedabad and Delhi. This marks the West Indies' first test tour to India since 2018. The team will then travel to Bangladesh for a 6-match white ball series. Just 4 days later, the men in maroon head to New Zealand for a 7-week all-format tour comprising 5 T20 internationals, 3 ODIs and 3 batches test series, concluding on December 22. Pereira emphasized the challenge of long-haul travel, acclimatization and managing injuries in such a condensed window.
But when you see the latest announcement by the West Indies board on the upcoming tours, it is like almost cricketers being on a treadmill. I mean, do we really needed Bangladesh after India and then a long journey to New Zealand and a fairly long tour?
Joseph Red Pereira. I'm Alric Swaby.
I'm Oreen Buchanan. That's your sports.
The time brought to you by Guardian Life. Live secure, live easy is
6 o'clock.
Home is closer than you think when you save towards your dream home with the Homeowners Savings Plan, or HOSP, from CIBC Caribbean. With HOSP, you unlock preferential interest rates to earn more interest on your savings and pay less with a discounted mortgage rate. You can even borrow up to an additional US $5,000 or its equivalent to help you with your closing costs. Get home faster when you save the HOSP way with CIBC.
Do it for your best life, do it. Go check your HIV status, do it. So keep your life trending, no pretending. Me I tell yourself it, do it for you, do it for you. Every time you are link with a condom, coulda Aussie, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Condom connect and protect your profile. Be your own fan, do it for your best life, do it for your best life, do it. Don't put yourself at risk. Condom connect every time, do it for your best life.
Since 1995, we've been your go-to source for everything related to billiards, amusement machines, and electronics. With locations at 1A Lindsay Terrace, Kingston 10, and the Village Plaza, Big Bridge, Savannah Lamar, we offer top-quality pool table parts and accessories, cutting-edge gaming machines, and more. We also specialize in assembly, sales, and service of amusement machines. We provide unmatched customer service, expert solutions, and products tailored to your needs. Who are we? We are Eclipse Enterprise. Telephone 876-960-3891.
Freedom, speed, agility, intelligence, friendship. These are the hallmarks that define the dolphin, the master of the seas, and are the hallmarks that inspire Sterling Asset Management. For over 20 years, we have provided investment products that give our clients financial freedom, and our service is fast, insightful, warm, and genuine. Sterling Asset Management, intelligent investing for the intelligent investor.
Commercial spaces for you. Parks and attractions for you. Housing and residential developments for you. Beautiful rental properties for you. Improving quality of life through infrastructure development across Jamaica for you. The Urban Development Corporation, making development happen for you. Brought to you by the Urban Development Corporation.
UDC for you. Now, PrEP makes it so easy. One pill before you link, prevent HIV.
PrEP makes it so easy. One pill before you link, prevent HIV.
You wanna do your thing with your queen or your king.
Or I get a little frisky that make you flex risky.
PrEP, I extra bucket.
To help you stay HIV negative.
PrEP makes it so easy. One pill before you link, prevent HIV. PrEP tablets available at your clinic from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Is your money idling when it could be thriving? With CIBC Caribbean's fixed deposit offering, you can take charge of your cash. With 50,000 Jamaican to start, choose terms from 30 days to 2 years. Lock in your funds and enjoy premium rates guaranteed to grow your wealth. Whether you're eyeing short or long-term gains, or fixed deposit accounts puts you firmly in control of your money. Now is the time to open a CIBC fixed deposit account and start earning more today. CIBC, ambitions made real.
I'm Dennis Brooks.
I'm Alan Campbell.
I'm Floyd Green.
And I'm Garth Williams. Catch us on the Jamaican Dads podcast right here on Nationwide 90 FM, Thursdays at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m.
The Jamaican Dads podcast is all about providing men with a healthy, safe, and functional forum to tackle many of the taboo topics that concern our masculinity.
Like everyone else out there, we're dads of varying amounts of experience who come from different backgrounds and often view the world differently.
We're definitely not perfect, but we are all brethren and we're all committed to this piece of rock called Jamaica.
Too often, there are no safe spaces for men to explore the issues which are important to us.
Plus, most of the content out there about parenthood is produced by women, for women. So we think it is important that we be the change we want to see.
Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaican Dads with a Z.
And definitely join us here on Nationwide 90 FM every Thursday at 8 p.m. with a repeat on Sundays at 6 p.m. for the Jamaican Dads podcast. It's a revolution in media.
Good evening. Thank you so much for staying with us. And if you're just joining us, good evening. Welcome to Nationwide at 5. My name is Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
And we just witnessed a bit of political history. Dr. Andrew Michael Holness taking the oath of office as Prime Minister for the 4th time. Yes? Of course, he would have taken the oath in 2011, 2016, 2020, and now in 2025. And he used the opportunity to call for national unity. He called on the country now to move beyond the election.
I stand before you deeply humbled and profoundly grateful to accept the people's mandate to once again serve as your one Prime Minister. Now, my friends, the elections are over. We must reunite and refocus on the business of the nation. The time has come where we must get over the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat, put aside haughtiness and bitterness, unfold our arms, unclench our fists, retract accusatory fingers, and embrace each other. Regardless of the outcome, we must choose Jamaica.
That's Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness during his inaugural address. Well, to discuss
Just before we get to the guest, Siobhan, obviously that call was significant.
Yes.
Because it comes in an environment where the opposition, People's National Party, has raised what they say are concerns. They've put it no stronger than that about alleged irregularities in the September 3 election. So that call for unity and that affirmation that there is only one Prime Minister was significant.
Yes, and to discuss that and the other key highlights from that inaugural address, we have with us the CEO of Nationwide News Network, the veteran journalist, Emmy Award-winning Cliff Hughes himself, as well as political historian Wayne Chen and political commentator Jermaine Barrett. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening. And it's good morning from Shanghai in China.
Jermaine Barrett? No, not hearing Jermaine. Let me start with you, Cliff. Your key takeaways from the inaugural address.
Hello? Well, the first thing that struck me was there was no note of triumphalism that was absent. Yes? This was not a triumphant third-term Prime Minister. This was a Prime Minister who came across as having developed and once again using the occasion to articulate the mission of achieving greatness for our island home of Jamaica, wanting peace, productivity, and prosperity. He said, it's the time has come for us to unclench our fists, unfold our arms. The elections are over. It is time again to reunite and choose Jamaica. I think those were very, very appropriate words. And the language, yes, suggesting that there's much, much more work to be done in building Jamaica.
Wayne Chen, I would describe it as workmanlike. I was actually struck, as Cliff said, that it wasn't particularly flowery or, you'd expect him to be triumphant. He's made history after all, but it didn't come across that way. He just seemed a man about his work. Was that how you saw it?
Yes, but there is a key word, and it's a P that I want to add to Cliff's list of P's, and that is partnership. Social partnership, social dialogue is a thing. It's a tangible thing. He made special reference early in his speech to the National Partnership Council, which has almost been forgotten because of neglect. I think I would rather than use the term workmanlike say the tone was sober. After outlining all the successes, measurable successes of the government, it must have been very sobering that the election could have been that close. In fact, it had to be dragged over the line at the last, virtually at the tip. And I can tell you the attitude of the last administration was we have been elected to lead, so we're going to lead. So the concept of partnership was not high on the agenda in the last administration. To give you a little historical context, the National Partnership Council was germinated in the early 2000s. The real work to get it done started at around the time of the 2008-2009 global financial crisis. And so it started under the Bruce Golding administration in terms of formalizing the social partnership. And it was signed as a formal agreement in 2012, early in the Portia Simpson Miller administration. But the stance of Jamaican governments has been, when they have a strong mandate, to ignore partnership, to pay lip service to consultation, and even when it has yielded Jamaica genuine benefits, we tend to forget that EPOC, the economic partnership, was a social partnership. That the memorandum of understanding, the Jamaica and the national debt exchanges, that got Jamaica the fiscal space, that reduced the debt, were all outcomes of social partnership. We are good at partnership in times of crisis, but when a government's electoral stock is high, they tend to forget partnership and lead. I think the fact that the Prime Minister opened his very sober presentation talking about the pivot to growth, but also recognizing that in terms of popular vote, he barely got over 50%. The Jamaica Labour Party, I believe, just over 50.6 or 50.7% of the popular vote. It must be
they won by only 10,000 votes, Wayne. Only 10,000 votes.
Must be very sobering, and they must realize now that, especially with some of the new entrants into the lower house, that you better have he reached out to Mark. I can't recall, gentlemen, a more blistering prime ministerial debate. The fact now that we are unclenching the fist and folding up the V and and reaching out is a signal that to go forward, we have to go forward together.
And that's where I want to pick up with Jermaine Barrett, because when I listen to it, I think you're absolutely right, Wayne Chen. But then I wonder, Jermaine Barrett, whether the Prime Minister was being a bit too hopeful, because the opposition, certainly since September 3, has not shown itself, from all we've heard from them so far, that they're going to be particularly cooperative. And I wondered if he was putting that hope too high. How do you see it?
I think it is appropriate that the Prime Minister, this speech is made in speech for the administration, would have had to set the bar very high, possibly higher than it would really be meant. The truth, though, is that I hear Wayne Chen mentioning and using the word sobering to describe the Prime Minister's speech, and he's right. But I think there's a lot of soberness the must contend with as well. And I think that in the spirit and in the context of soberness, it's going to be the Prime Minister and the leader of the opposition sitting down with cool heads and helping to figure things out, right? There is not much to be had if it is that we choose to pursue a partisan interest. I think both leaders have got to come to that point. Now elections are over and pursue the national interest. And that was the salient message that I got from the Prime Minister's message. So yes, and very aloof, very poignant, and very visionary, statesman-like even, but I think rightly so.
We're up on a break, gentlemen. Please stay with us.
For all your scales and food processing equipment, call Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited at 876-968-9612-5. The time by Advanced Scales and Equipment Limited is...
It's 6:14.
Spring into style with Unique Living. Upgrade your home with our extensive range of products. Get sleek shower panels, stylish vanities, LED and non-LED mirrors, plus kitchen sinks, closet solutions, ceiling fans, and more. Available in various finishes and sizes. Visit shop number 6, 30 Dunrobin Avenue, Kingston 10. Call 876-755-3661 or visit our website at www.uniquelivingja.com. Don't wait to spring into style with Unique Living.
Welcome back, listeners and viewers. We've seen today the Prime Minister sworn in for a fourth time, for a third full term as the head of Jamaica's government. And we have with us discussing this matter CEO of Nationwide News, Cliff Hughes, political historian Wayne Chen, and political commentator Jermaine Barrett. Sir Hughes, in the spirit of what the Prime Minister put forward essentially as an attempt to get consensus, he handed out an olive branch to Mark Golding repeatedly throughout this speech for matters he believes obviously require the opposition's help in terms of bringing them to fruition. Do you think now making that public appeal to the opposition leader will give the opposition leader some pause in any attempt to, say, continue in the spirit of obstructionism, as Ricardo put it? That is quite well put, going forward into Gordon House this term?
Siobhan, let us step back for a little. As it is now, given the results of September 3, for those who chose to participate by voting, it's a 50-50 country. A 50-50 country. No clear majority. However, they are that block of 35-40%, who I will call the passive observers, participants, who are waiting to be engaged. That is where the battle for the next 5 years will have to be fought, for that block of 35% of Jamaicans who look on and is not particularly enthused by what they're hearing from the JLP and the PNP. Mark Golding's attendance today at King's House is in keeping with the tradition of the leader of the opposition attending the swearing-in ceremony. Yes, and he was backed by a number of senior PNP leaders. However, I think we are yet to see what will emerge based on what we have been hearing from the PNP. I'm not particularly hopeful. There's a sense in the party, that is the PNP at this hour, that they are on the cusp of state power, that they crave so much and they have been denied. Yes? We're getting mixed signals from them in terms of the outcome of the elections, or whether they concede that they genuinely lost in a close election. There are mixed signals. What the Prime Minister did this afternoon was to clearly send a message to that block of 35% of Jamaicans that, listen, I did not come here this evening to beat my chest in triumph. I come here as a man with unfinished work to do, and I need the support and help of you and the opposition. How that is going to fare, only time will tell.
Wayne Chen, Cliff said he didn't beat his chest, but he certainly dropped some, let's call them nuggets. Yeah, he said the time has come to choose Jamaica. He said that, and I noted the look on his face. He looked directly at Mark Golding when he said that. How do you think he should approach, Cliff said, mixed signals, the signals being sent by the People's National Party about the outcome of the election? Because up to this point, he has not directly addressed them. His own West Central St. Andrew constituency, the outcome there brought into direct question. Do you think he says something going forward, or does he allow it or hope that it dies a natural death?
No, the issue of the election, even the West Central St. Andrew seat, these are numbers games. People can look at the history of voting in the polling divisions in that. The fact that, apart from the public dialogue, it has not been more vigorously contested through legal channels by the People's National Party. So just that they know the outcome already. So I wouldn't, if I was the Prime Minister, I wouldn't get too detained by electoral challenges. The fact is that there is a lot of work to be done. And I think the public expectation is you're going to get down to do the work. I think the right tone has been struck, as I say, a sober tone, an expectation that we will pivot toward growth, as explicitly noted by the Prime Minister, an acknowledgement that productivity will have to rise, that the education reforms that are long overdue will have to be implemented, that infrastructure upgrades will have to be implemented. We have gone a long way to poverty reduction. In fact, we're on the cusp of eliminating extreme poverty in Jamaica. That can be done. The reduction in violent crime and homicides, moving from over 40 per 100,000 to the mid-20s, it is very possible to move it down to around 15 and even 10 per 100,000 over the next 5 years. This will yield real improvements in Jamaica's quality of life. It will unlock a lot of economic growth. And he didn't touch on housing. There is a housing shortage in a particular segment of the market that is really distressing to many young Jamaicans. We have to get them out of the pipeline. It's not that the funding doesn't exist, because the National Housing Trust, which belongs, by the way, to the contributors, sits there on billions of dollars.
Wayne, I think you have put your finger on something that is absolutely crucial. How do we get inclusive growth so that the ordinary Jamaican, the young professional, just out of the university, mid-20s, married or unmarried with a child or two, wanting to buy their first home? This administration will have to fix that problem. That is how we're going to engage that 35%. That is how we're going to get them to be hopeful and optimistic about Jamaica again. That means the school bus program that the government pulled off in the last year, yeah, they'll have to do more of those so people can actually feel, yeah, that, listen, I am benefiting. And I think that is a big challenge facing the cabinet and the Prime Minister that will be sworn in tomorrow. How they are going to implement policies and programs that people right across the country can feel hopeful about Jamaica again. And that, remember, the campaign for the next election has begun. It is only a 7-seat majority, 10,000 votes separating the government from the opposition. It's a constant battle now. So all the niceties about uniting or whatever, Belmont Road is not going to shut down like they did after 2020 because they had the comfort of 49-14. Old Hope Road is not going to slow down when they realize the numbers. So the campaign will continue. Yeah, I don't know how it's going to work out for the next 4 years. There's a whole lot of juggling we'll have to do as a fledgling democracy.
And that's where I'd like to bring you in, Jermaine Barrett. Do you see, based on what the Prime Minister presented in his inaugural address, a recognition of where the Jamaican electorate is and where it needs to be in order for him to be comfortable at the end of this current term?
Absolutely. I heard the Prime Minister seized of the imperative to bring solutions to the Jamaican people in a way that people are able to testify and attest to those realities existing in their lives. I got a Prime Minister seized of the big issues, the intractable issues, seized of the reality that he has over his last 9 years done phenomenally well to tackle, to wrestle some of those big issues. Crime, unemployment, and so forth. He had those things credit. Then the elections have people then just found it to win. I think the kind of assuredness and there I even say some people call it arrogance. The dociousness that would have occasioned the administration getting into the election. They've really been joking because they would.
All right, Jermaine, your line is going bad, so we're gonna try to fix that. Hold on there, Cliff. We understand you have to leave us now, so I'm gonna give you the final.
No, you can.
Oh, you stay with us.
Well, you can go on for a little while longer.
Okay. No, you all talk about how it's going to be going forward for the next 5 years. Obviously, it's going to be a much closer parliament. The post of Speaker of the House of Representatives is going to be important. Yeah, and I see conversations on it as to who should have that job. Does Juliet Holness continue, or does Andrew Holness look elsewhere and find other uses for Mrs. Holness's talents? How do you see that, Cliff?
I think he should go for Chuck. Just to put it very bluntly. You should go for Delroy Chuck, an experienced legislator and minister of government, a man who is able to enjoy some level of confidence from the opposition benches. I hear talk about Everett Warmington, the Southwestern Catherine veteran member of parliament. No. Too much of a polarizing figure is Mr. Warmington for that job.
But doesn't that assume, Cliff, that the Young Turks, and I'm calling them Young Turks, who are going to take their seats come Thursday, that they're going to have the kind of deference for a veteran like Delroy Chuck? We're talking about Dawes, we're talking about Crawford, we're talking about Ian Hales, Dayton Campbell. That gang is going to be formidable.
Oh, yes, they are going to be formidable. Yes, but how do you engage them? How do you neutralize them so that the function of Parliament continues to be effective? Or do you want to descend? Yeah, that every Tuesday or Wednesday we sit in the newsroom and look on in awe that the Parliament has descended again into another brawl. What you want is experience, veteran, people with a kind of disposition that is going to build work across the divide. You don't want a man like Warmington who is going to give them the finger, at the very start. No, you want to engage them.
And Cliff, I'd actually put it to you, though, on that basis, would you suggest then that there would be concerns raised by the opposition if either the two past holders of that seat, Juliet Holness or Marissa Dalrymple-Philibert, were to be returned based on their objections to the two individuals in prior sittings?
The appointment of Mrs. Holness, yes, was not controversial at the first go. It grew controversial as the PNP made an issue of the Prime Minister's declarations. Yeah, then it placed her in a position of conflict. Yeah, but she has done a pretty good job of the Speaker of the House. I think the question the Prime Minister will have to decide now is whether she's better suited in government as in a minister, a cabinet minister, and which ministry. Yeah. And that is going to be dependent on a number of factors. What are his options? What will be his focus? Yes, Mrs. Holness has certain skills. Yeah, for example, she's a real estate developer, construction. She knows that. Would she be better served where she has a kind of experience and savviness? Or should she continue as Speaker? I don't know. This is why this job of Prime Minister is not for some of us,
Wen Chen, what do you think the Prime Minister should do with Mrs. Holness?
I think Cliff raises some very good points. I will note this. Juliet Holness has been a very quick study in terms of understanding the rules of Parliament and parliamentary procedure and so on. She has been very, very good at that. But given the new composition of Parliament with some rambunctious opposition members, perhaps Adelroy Chuck, who has been Speaker before, would be the best person to keep the proceedings at a particular level and not be necessarily a polarizing figure, which is not to say that Juliet Holness could not do it. But he does have other skills that could be well utilized. And I go beyond her savvy as a developer and so on. She's an excellent manager, and for those of us who know the role she plays behind the scenes, she has a reputation of being able to get things done. She's not a big talker.
Yes.
She's an implementer. And the government needs a few more implementers to get a lot of the things that need to be done in the short term to keep the momentum going. So his suggestion might be a very pragmatic one.
Jermaine, are you there?
Yeah, just to tender here an opinion on this matter. I think given the skill set that Mrs. Holness had, those skill sets are not best used in her role as Speaker of the House. I think the Prime Minister ought to be bold and quite frankly daring. To position her as the Minister of Economic Growth and Job Creation, the kind of super ministry that has been really taking the lead in terms of the infrastructural expansion and providing water and so forth to the people of the country. I think that is where her skill set is best exploited.
We're up on a break. Let's hit the break and come back.
Drive the most exciting new vehicles in Jamaica. Schedule your 2024 Ford Ranger pickup or Ford Everest 7-seater SUV test drive now. Call or visit KIG today.
The time by KIG is...
It's 6:31.
Visit Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore for all your prescription needs, gifts, personal care, household and stationery items. The temperature by Marshall's Pharmacy, Greater Portmore is...
It's 31 degrees Celsius here in the capital city, Kingston, and 26 out west in Montego Bay.
Delicious meals, poolside cocktails, right on the beach. Disconnect from your daily worries and reconnect with the one you love. There's no paradise like home. This summer, enjoy a romantic all-inclusive escape at Couples Tower Isle, Couples Sans Souci, Couples Negril, or Couples Swept Away from $295 USD per night. Take advantage of this offer today by visiting Couples Resorts at couples.com. Conditions apply.
Thank you so much for staying with us. We're getting reactions to Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness's inaugural address. We have with us CEO of Nationwide News, Cliff Hughes, political historian Wayne Chen, and political commentator Jermaine Barrett. There are also other considerations the Prime Minister has to juggle this evening. We understand he will tell the cabinet ministers starting this evening into tomorrow their assignments. What does he do, Cliff Hughes, with Robert Montague, the chairman of the Jamaica Labour Party, Dr. Andrew Wheatley, South Central St. Catherine? They've been in the political wilderness, if I can put it that way, for quite some time now, convincing victories in the general election. Does he bring them back into the fold?
Yes, he does, and he has to. The political calculus demands that he does bring them back. Yeah? Why? The majority, now down to 7 from 35. Western St. Mary, Bobby Montague's seat, South Central St. Catherine Wheatley, less so than Western St. Mary. But in the case of Bobby Montague, he delivered on the day. He delivered. Bobby Montague is a damn good politician, especially he knows rural politics. Yes, he should be brought back into the cabinet and given some special assignment in making sure that the electoral machine that is the Jamaica Labour Party does not go to sleep as it did after 2020. Yes, he will have to come back and give him both a ministerial job and a political job. And Andrew Wheatley is a very, very sharp mind, you know. Don't forget that. And he has a very strong constituency. He played a crucial role in the organizing of the 2025 September 3 election victory. He was on the road.
General Secretary.
He has earned his political spurs. And I think the calculus of the numbers suggests that Wheatley and Montague should be back, and they'll serve their time, their punishment. Under Westminster parliamentary system, you commit an infraction or something egregious, and your Prime Minister has to park you from time, and after a year or two, you're back.
If the Prime Minister should return them to Cabinet, Wayne Chen, how do you think that will play with the Partnership for what's it called, the Partnership for Prosperity? The social partnership, right?
Well, I think some of the partners will have some concerns, but I want to touch on a slightly different matter. Cliff touched on it, but the history of the Jamaica Labour Party has been that whenever it wins government, the joke is that Belmont Road becomes a ghost town. It evaporates. The party gets subsumed into government, and I suspect that the Prime Minister, having studied this phenomenon election after election, would realize that he needs gentlemen like the two mentioned to keep the party separate from government as a political machine. The Labour Party has tended over the many years to function more as a coalition of interests that get together to win elections and then disappears into government. Quite unlike the People's National Party, which is more unified by ideology and history and spends a lot of time about heritage and so on. So it tends to be unified by beliefs. The other one tends to be unified by getting things done. It's slightly different culture. Similar ideology in the nowadays, but slightly different culture. I think this coming back to this sobering victory, the 50 point little bit percent, the 10,000 votes out of the 800,000, 700 plus 800,000 cast, should remind the Prime Minister that the party, his party, needs to function as a party going forward, and not just when the bell is rung and the bugle is down 4 or 5 years down the line. And he needs men like that to keep the party going, or to build up the party.
But Cliff, I'm wondering, based on your concerns raised about the need to reach out to the, as you put it, passive observers of our electoral process at this time, in the particular case of Robert Montague, who, let's face it, left governance in quite a bit of a cloud, do you not think that could upset the sensibilities of those passive observers bringing him back?
Time heals wounds, and memory fades as well, to put it in a philosophical way. But Mr. Montague and Dr. Wheatley, again, it goes back to the democracy we practice. They have been punished. They have served their time. Yes, they were held accountable by being exiled from the political executive. They have not been criminally found guilty of anything. Yes, and as such, under Westminster, they have regained the confidence of the thousands of voters in their constituencies, and they have every right to make a case to be back in the executive. That's how the democracy works, Westminster democracy. That's how it works. They have been punished. They've been held accountable.
We've already heard talk of a fourth term. The Prime Minister on election night, in fact, talked about what would be required if the Labour Party would, seek the fourth term. The question of succession must also be on his mind now, despite giving an indication that he could potentially seek a fourth mandate from the Jamaican people. How does he begin that process when he names the cabinet tomorrow, Cliff, and then to Wayne Chen?
He has to promote now several of his MPs who are now into their second term. Prime Minister Holness said after 2020, in a number of ways, that listen, first term MPs won in 2020 in an unusual election, an outlier of an election. They now have to prove their mettle in their constituencies for when the politics is beginning to realign, as it has, based on the results of September 3. If they can survive, then they can be promoted. And I think the likes of Rhoda Moy Crawford from Central Manchester, Kerencia Morris from North East St. Catherine, Tova Hamilton from Northern Trelawney, and others, I'm probably forgetting a name or two, have earned the right to move into the state ministerial ranks of the executive. And he will have to promote those people because they represent the future of the Labour Party. Whether it's a fourth term or whatever or not, they now represent the future of the Labour Party. Just look what they did. Tova Hamilton held off the PNP heavyweight, Dr. Wickham McNeil in Northern Trelawney. Rhoda, despite all the odds that were arrayed against her, she held on to Central Manchester. I know for a fact that that has stunned the People's National Party. That must be rewarded because what they have demonstrated in those victories is to show that they have political skills that you need in a 35-28 majority.
Yeah. Wayne, how do you see it?
The Prime Minister has a dilemma. When you take all the people, the MPs that were outlined, and I think the name that slipped Cliff was Crystal Lee in Northwest Centre.
Crystal Lee, yes, another one, yes.
These members of Parliament have earned a reputation for being hard-working members of Parliament. When you take them and put them into the executive, especially given the expectations now, will the representation suffer? And this is where the Prime Minister, I believe, has when you have only 35 to choose from, with high expectations, those who have performed, not many newcomers, you can't bring too many in from the Senate now. What is going to happen to representation on the ground? We have seen where a lot of seats are pretty close. When the representative is doing executive function.
Wayne, I think, Wayne, in the names we have called, they have demonstrated that they understand representational needs and imperatives to hold Central Manchester, Northern Trelawney. It must mean that those women understand the politics and know you can't neglect the people. And let us be brutally honest. I get myself into problems all the while because of that honesty. Under Westminster parliamentary system, Wayne, listeners, just think for a moment. Rhoda Moy Crawford, State Minister, under the leadership of Desmond McKenzie in local government and rural development. What she could do in terms of enhancing and strengthening the delivery of services, community developments, roads, water, at the community level,
Cliff Hughes,
and how that would be expressed in terms of the political gain.
Cliff Hughes, I hear some of my listeners already saying, isn't that the exact problem with this Westminster system that we practice? That the Prime Minister could use a ministerial appointment to shore up his political party. Isn't that the problem?
And every Prime Minister across Westminster, including the Mother Parliament, yes, you govern with an eye to the next election. There is no governance, no state power without your political organization. You cannot win state power without your political organization. And you deliver benefits, policies and programs that make people feel, you're the better of the two.
Jermaine Barrett,
let us not be naive about the theoretical part of politicking,
I hear you, Cliff Hughes. Jermaine Barrett, succession planning, what does the Prime Minister do?
Yes, the only thing I'll add in relation to this matter is the fact that the Prime Minister, if we will recall, would have had a turbulent time when he first took leadership of the party, facing at one point a leadership race against Audley Shaw and so forth. Now we're seeing a Prime Minister who has his hand fully in charge of the Labour Party. And the point here is, we talk about succession planning, he has to also recognize that the younger politicians, the Rhoda Crawford, the Tova Hamiltons and so forth, are the ones who would have grown up into the politics under his stewardship more so than the old guard. And so it is going to be incumbent on him now to strategically position them into state ministerial positions, so that when it is that his time comes to depart, his legacy and his philosophy about governance and party politics remains for some time to come, led and anchored by the new guard.
Yeah. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.
I will say one last thing, Ricardo.
Yes.
Don't forget he has some possibilities of recruiting new blood through the Senate. Andrew Holness, like other good political leaders, have recruited a lot of people into this Labour Party that were not there 10 years ago. All good
Dr.
political
Nigel
leaders
Clark.
know you have to recruit.
Dr. Nigel Clark, yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Audrey Marks, no.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
And of course, we'll be watching that Senate lineup. 13 of them, the Prime Minister can recommend to the Governor General, and the Governor General indicating that he has already received those names. He indicated that in his address this afternoon. Mark Golding also would have submitted his 8 names. The opposition leader nominates 8 to the Senate. Cliff Hughes, Wayne Chen, Jermaine Barrett, thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
Okay, good.
All right, after the break, we'll get political reactions now from the Jamaica Labour Party.
Want to save money and still protect your engine? Get Chevron Supreme Sin Blend Motor Oil, the blue bottle with a silver stripe. Now upgraded to synthetic blend, so your engine runs cleaner, longer, and stronger. Now available island-wide at service stations and leading auto parts stores. Ask for Chevron Motor Oil, your favorite blue bottle with a silver stripe. That's Chevron Sin Blend, your engine good friend.
Home is closer than you think when you save towards your dream home with the Homeowner Savings Plan, or HOSP, from CIBC Caribbean. With HOSP, you unlock preferential interest rates to earn more interest on your savings and pay less with a discounted mortgage rate. You can even borrow up to an additional US $5,000 or its equivalent to help you with your closing costs. Get home faster when you save the HOSP way with CIBC.
Thank you so much for staying with us here on Nationwide at 5. We continue to get reactions to the swearing in of Prime Minister Dr. Andrew Holness for a 3rd consecutive term, his 4th time taking the oath of office as Prime Minister of Jamaica, matching the record set by PJ Patterson. We have with us now a member of the Communication Task Force of the Jamaica Labour Party, and until very recently, he was a senator.
Yes.
And Siobhan asked me if he'll continue to be a senator. Marlon Morgan will be able to answer that question, I'm sure. Marlon Morgan, good evening.
Hi, good evening, Ricardo. Good evening, Siobhan. And let me say good evening to the Nationwide News Network family.
Has your name been sent to the Governor General for reappointment?
But one of the things I never seek to do in the body politic, gentlemen, is to arrogate onto myself powers or prerogatives that are not properly mine. As you'll appreciate, the gentleman who took and subscribed the oath of allegiance and the oath of office of the Prime Minister just now is the man who now has vested in him the powers to make a determination as to the political executive that will serve the good people of Jamaica. I have every confidence that he will carefully consider from the talent pool available to him, and the interests of the Jamaican people will be best served by the composition of the political executive and indeed the composition of the upper house of parliament, gentlemen.
Very well put, Mr. Morgan. But let's get to the business of the day then. You were brought in as one of those voices to shore up the political messaging of the party, and that has culminated in the swearing in of Dr. Andrew Holness for his 3rd consecutive term. What do you make of this moment?
Well, it's an epochal moment, particularly for us as a political movement. You'll appreciate that although we would have had 2 previous attempts at it, no Jamaica Labour Party outfit has managed to secure 3 successive terms of government. But more importantly, the Prime Minister made an observation in his inaugural address earlier this afternoon, which resonates with me. I find it particularly poignant and instructive, and that is this 3rd term of ours, gentlemen, of the Jamaica Labour Party government is not so much about Holness's legacy, but more so about Jamaica's destiny. So this moment means more than just the considerations of a political movement that has successfully campaigned for a 3rd successive term. It means much more than that. It's about what is in the offing for Jamaica, because on prior occasions, Jamaica has been at this point where we have been taxiing on the runway for takeoff, but we have had some stops and starts. We have had diversions, policy failures, and things that have served to set us back. And so we are pleased as a political movement that we have had 2 previous terms of consolidation of Project Jamaica, such that we are now at a point where we are poised for takeoff, and takeoff we shall. But this takeoff will not be organic or arbitrary. It will come, gentlemen, on the back of much of the things the Prime Minister articulated in his inaugural address an hour and a half or so ago. And just to be clear, the people of Jamaica have to be front and center of this great mission of ours, because in this 3rd term of ours, it is about accelerating growth. It is about attaining and realizing the promise that Jamaica has always had. We are world beaters in athletics. We are world beaters in so many other aspects of global life, but we want to be world leaders now in some of the new and exciting careers of the future. Yeah, and it's important for us to position ourselves well, so that's the industries of the future and those that we have been blazing a trail in, such as tourism and agro-processing and nutraceuticals. We can be more of world leaders in those areas.
Yeah.
And so I'm very optimistic about what is in the offing for Jamaica in this next chapter, where we're seeking to accelerate economic growth and ensure higher incomes, because that's what matters to the people of Jamaica ultimately. Eliminating absolute poverty and ensuring that people have more purchasing power on account of more money in their pocket.
Marlon, the Prime Minister reached out to the opposition leader, and of course, there was a contentious debate, and the opposition, I think it's fair to say, has been pretty antagonistic since the conclusion of the election. How hopeful are you that in this new parliament, the 2 sides of the political divide can work together? We heard the Prime Minister specifically saying, Mark, let's get the Republic business done now. How hopeful are you?
Well, very hopeful, very optimistic, because those of us who are, charitable by nature and altruistic by nature have to, believe in the collective will and ambitions of the Jamaican people. And although we are mindful of the competitive nature in terms of the cut and thrust of the politics, we know that there, as the Governor General likes to say, there is more that we have in common as a people than those things that serve to divide us. And while we are, hopeful and optimistic, we are practical at the same time, and we understand that there are forces that we're up against, and it is for the bodies in the opposition leaders' court really, so as to not to pander to the least common denominator and some of the elements even within his party who may want to disrupt some national interest related initiatives and agendas, such as, of course, Jamaica completing that circle in terms of its evolution as a fledgling democracy. And I'm speaking here of Jamaica as a republic. I'm also making reference to the Prime Minister's call to action, Siobhan and Ricardo, as it relates to ending this epidemic of violence that we have in our country.
Yeah.
And Marlon, I hear you what you're saying. One of the concerns raised by the commentators earlier is that when the Labour Party has secured its victory, it tends to abandon the work of Belmont Road and focus solely on the work at Jamaica House. Do you see that happening this term, or do you see the work at Belmont Road remaining critical in terms of ensuring political success in the future?
Well, we note that concern and that observation, and I think I'm in a position to give an assurance that even while the administration, it will be minted as of tomorrow afternoon, will be fixed in terms of fixity of purpose, will be transfixed on getting on with the business of work and developing Jamaica. It shall not be at the expense, as it were, of some of the political organizational work. Because the truth is that we have high capacity people in our ranks. We have people who are giving of themselves and are offering themselves to serve the people of Jamaica. And the truth is that we should be able to ride and whistle in a much more effective way, having regard to the experience we would have garnered these past 2 terms of office. Now, the very point you were making in the earlier segment with Cliff and Wayne and Jermaine Barrett, Wayne Chen, that is, and Jermaine Barrett, is that while the Prime Minister has certain pieces at his disposal, and I'm speaking of the recently minted 2-term MPs, it will have to be a matter of them digging deep, for example, to the extent that any of them, is tapped for a space in the political executive to serve the people well as MPs and be responsive and advocates of theirs, while at the same time discharging whatever role that may be vested in them insofar as executive leadership in, the political executive in the country. So for us, it's going to be traveling on 2 planes, traveling on both tracks. That is the management of the country, but also political organization and political considerations, because as Cliff said a while ago, we can't be, naive politically and not appreciate that, listen, the politics and the political fortunes of the JLP ultimately lead to government. We are, very focused in that regard, and I will be giving of myself personally in that regard, as I would have done these past 14 or so months, literally leaving the civil service to get back on the park to make a contribution in an area that is most critical to the fortunes of any incumbent administration seeking to successfully contest an election. We did that the other day. I'm delighted with my own contribution and efforts in that regard. But as a team player as well, I will be intent and I am resolving to ensure that as a collective, our head is in that direction.
Yeah. The Prime Minister struck a tone of unity. He called for unity explicitly. A part of that obviously will have to be with bringing all stakeholders to the table, civil society included. In this 3rd term to come now, starting today, how do you see the JLP government's relationship going forward with civil society?
Well, so we know that Jamaica has a proud and, illustrious traditions of strong and powerful voices in national development and in national advocacy. The civil society organizations are but one element in that. We know we have a strong trade union movement. Both major political parties, the PNP and the Jamaica Labour Party, were born out of respective trade unions. In our case, it is the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union. We know we have the voice of the churches. And so the government is already well placed to mobilize and have key pillars in the country coalesce around an agenda of partnership and unity. Since we took office in March 2016, we would have come to office on a platform, you'll recall, gentlemen, of Partnership for Prosperity.
Yes.
Out of that came the Partnership Council, and that council is still in place. It has representation that is drawn from all the key segments of society, the church, civil society, NGOs, and of course the trade union movement, for example. And of course, importantly, the business community, so the private sector also has a space in terms of that forum. So the government is committed to reaching out to the parliamentary opposition, building consensus in relation to critical issues, and of course ensuring that with fixity of purpose, with the elections having been recently contested, they are now behind us, and it is for all Jamaicans to place their hand on deck. The Prime Minister made the call in his inaugural address as well for people to unclench their fists to the extent that fists are clenched. Yeah?
Yes.
And it's an instructive call because we have a project before us. A mandate has been given, albeit a much smaller mandate this time around, a mere 7-seat majority relative to the 18-seat majority that we enjoyed previously. But it's an important mandate nevertheless, and it's something that we can't take for granted. all hands on deck, even as we go forward and seek to accelerate growth and do better and do even more for the Jamaican people. Because Jermaine mentioned it in his observations earlier. There are still some intractable issues that bedevil us. Water. People want to be able to turn on the tap in their household and have water. They want to, have a bath under running water. They want to be able to go out to till the soil and tend to their farm with support in terms of irrigation infrastructure. And these are some of the things that we're going to be focusing on intently. And this is not just talk. The government has been doing the planning. The government has already broken ground, for example, in relation to the Western Water Resilience Project. We have already broken ground in terms of the Pedro Plains water system, seeking to harness water from the Black River to irrigate the plains of Pedro Plains. So the Jamaica literally has re-elected a government that knows what it is about, has been doing the do, and is well placed to do even more for them in a third term, because we have a broad vision for Jamaica's development. We have the requisite gravitas and capacity and proven track record, and that's what we're going to be building, and we're going to be mobilizing support around that agenda going forward. Because
Marlon Morgan
has to attain its promise, gentlemen. We have been at the back for too long. We have been the bane, well, let me not say the bane, but we have been, looked down on by some of our peers, perhaps across the region and elsewhere. And it is Jamaica's time now to move ahead and to be the pearl of the Caribbean, in keeping with that great promise that we have had from time immemorial.
We're up on a break, Marlon, but I want to give you a question to ruminate on until we come back. 38% voter turnout, little more than 10,000 votes between the two political parties, and concerns about the voters list set aside, there clearly seems to be a large portion of the society that has essentially turned itself off from the political process. How do you appeal to those going forward in a third term? But please, up on the break when we come back.
Every time you are link with a condom, coulda Ozzy, coulda wife, coulda be a random. Do it for your best life.
The time by the Ministry of Health and Wellness is...
It's 7 o'clock. Welcome back, listeners and viewers. We're talking to the member of the JLP's Communication Task Force, Marlon Morgan, around issues going forward into the Jamaica Labour Party's third term helming governance. So I put the question to you, Marlon, give you some time to get it together in terms of an answer. What say you in terms of what I said? How do you appeal to those people in the middle, so to speak, who have essentially skipped out on the electoral process?
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt based on the data set that is before us, and it is corroborated by our own anecdotal experience in many instances, gentlemen, whether we're at the water fountain, at some, institution across the country, whether we're in the lunchroom at work and so on. We hear people registering and exhibiting this degree of apathy, a degree of cynicism and skepticism where the politics of the country is concerned. And it has to be concerning, certainly for players like myself who have an interest in a vibrant democracy where people participate and not leave the vote up to others. Because the truth is, people have to understand that when you stay away, you are literally entrusting the direction of and the future of the country to those who may not be as, issues based in terms of how they view political support as you are. And so for us, certainly as a political party, we know that, listen, one of the most important ways to break the back of the cynicism and the skepticism that many have toward the members of the political class is to quit ourselves by way of action, solid action. So when people see things happening, when you see, roads being maintained in ways that have never been maintained before, when you see that there are X number of years with no new taxes, when you see government literally giving back your hard-earned tax dollars, as this Andrew Holness-led government has been in the business of doing, those are the things come that when brought together, gentlemen, will cause more persons to come off the fence and say, say, I see them people that make an effort and I see what them do with the money and so on. So that is how you bring people into your confidence. That is how you whittle away at cynicism and apathy, because the truth is the voter apathy and the indifference on the part of many people toward the politics of the country is something that did not happen overnight. It happened over quite a number of years, decades even, and quite frankly, for a considerable segment of the uncommitted and the indifferent class in the country, the folks who are, who exhibit the voter apathy, it may take quite some time for them to come around, but it is the job of people like myself in terms of engagement, in terms of political communications, participating in programs like these to say, listen, we have a post-independence leader in Andrew Michael Holness who means well for the country. He has a vision for Jamaica, and his service to the country is not, something that is merely about his legacy and what his personal ambitions are. This is a gentleman who came up in a Jamaica where there were certain hardships. He went to university at a time when it was very tough to navigate higher education in this country. So he has witnessed firsthand, even as a youngster growing up, with certain challenges vis-a-vis housing in the country. These are his lived realities. He wasn't born with a ghost spoon in his mouth. And like so many of us who he has, been leading in the politics, many of whom are in his most recent cabinet and may well be returned to his political executive come tomorrow. We are a class of people who grew up in the struggle. My own parents were working class folk. My father was a police officer. My mother was a housewife at one point. Then she did a little dressmaking. So we grew up in the struggle. We are not top and Irish people. And the truth of the matter is that to the extent that these are our lived realities, we know what it takes to deliver for the people of Jamaica, and we're committed in that regard. And that is why we were able to come to the people of Jamaica a few weeks ago with no fewer than 250 solid achievements, things that we did over the past 2 terms. And in this 3rd term of office, we are not going to be taking our foot off the gas pedal. It's going to be full speed ahead in relation to doing more for the people of Jamaica, whether it is in healthcare, whether it is in tackling bureaucracy and seeking to foster increased productivity, getting the infrastructure right, because infrastructure, both road, water, and of course broadband, these are critical levers to helping Jamaica to attain its great promise and potential, gentlemen.
I know there's a party, festivities getting underway soon, and we don't want to keep you much longer from that, Marlon Morgan. But thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it as always.
All the best, gentlemen. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Marlon Morgan, they're a member of the GLP's Communication Task Force, up until very recently a senator. And he says, whether he goes back to the Senate, of course, rests with the Prime Minister's nomination to the Governor General. We're going to take your calls now. How did you see the inauguration? What were your highlights? Come and share with us. 630-937-124, 618-8255.
The NHT has boosted construction loan limits to 11 million for one applicant and up to 23 million for 3 co-applicants. We are building Jamaica.
The time by the Office of the Prime Minister is...
It's 7:07.
Enough power tool, big to small. Jackama figure dig the wall. Our Total Tools. Beat waka figure trim the lawn. We have everything a job demand. Total Tools. We rent them, sell them and fix them. Also give Total Tools a call. When you say home improvement, landscape construction, a Total Tools are your option. Home improvement, landscape construction, Total Tools are your option. Total Tools, located at 102 Main Street, Ocho Rios, 34 Slipe Road, Kingston. And lot C6 Jacksaw, Sentence Bay. Call us today.
Escape to Idle While in a grill where sand and serenity meet. Visit idlewhile.com or call 876-957-3302. Idle While and stay a while.
How certain are you that you're taking proper care of your pets?
How often do you take them to the vet? Just as we need annual checkups with our doctors, most pets need regular checkups too. Owning and caring for a family pet doesn't have to be a difficult or burdensome experience. Nationwide 90 FM has an exciting feature called Pets World that will help you take better care of your pets. Join Nationwide 90 FM every Wednesday at 6:50 a.m. during the program This Morning as we take you into the do's and don'ts of caring for your pets. That's Pets World every Wednesday at 6:50 a.m. during the program This Morning on Nationwide 90 FM, a revolution in media.
Welcome back, listeners. It's time for your calls, and the numbers are 630-9371-4 and 618-8255. You're on the line, Ulrich. Good evening.
Good evening, Siobhan. Good evening, Ricardo.
Hey, Ulrich, how you do?
Well, I'm there. Listen to what the Prime Minister sharing and thing, and I listen to and a good program as do with that. I wouldn't want to be in Andrew Walden's shoes to name this cabinet, guys.
Why?
What do you do with the present cabinet that is there that has performed so well? And now there are certain people that were elected back as MPs that the Jamaica Labour Party has to get them into the executive. So will there be will it be a bigger executive than the one before? How does he manage that?
You don't believe the work of the people of Jamaica doesn't require a bigger executive? I realize there've always been concerns about the size of the leadership, but I mean, based on what we expect to accomplish in coming years, why not expand the cabinet? I mean, eliminating absolute poverty, some of the other lofty goals put forward, don't you think that requires an expansion, not necessarily the kind of leanness we've been practicing over the years?
Siobhan, I agree with you. Ricardo, what's your take on it? Because I'm going to give you mine after I hear yours.
No, I don't think he should expand the cabinet beyond its current.
You don't have a take on it?
I'm saying no, I don't think he should expand the cabinet beyond its current number. I don't think that's necessary. I think I agree that there needs to be succession planning, but I think he has ample space within the ranks of state minister, junior ministers to do that. I agree with you that this cabinet has performed, so I don't expect any significant shifts or changes in this cabinet because, with the exception of probably one or two ministers, I think we can look and say, okay, everybody has, carried their part of the burden. So I don't expect the Prime Minister to get rid of a lot of his existing ministers. What I'll be looking for is who becomes state ministers. Right, so Rhoda Crawford I expect to become a state minister. Bobby Montague and Andrew Wheatley I think are genuine questions. I think Andrew Wheatley should return.
As state ministers?
No, not as state ministers. But they can be added to the cabinet without expanding its absolute size.
How would you do that?
Remember, he had a couple ministers without portfolio in the office of the Prime Minister. I think I expect him to continue. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation has, is 4 of them or 3 of them? Ministers without portfolio. Right. So I think that can be utilized. The energy, transport, telecommunications, science, about 5 portfolio under that. I think that can be split to make room for, I think, Dr. Andrew Wheatley. So, so I don't expect it to be expanded beyond, inordinately. But those two gentlemen, I think, will be added.
I'm looking at you guys at Rhoda. Desmond McKenzie knows his job and knows the ministry. But I'm looking to see if Rhoda could be a junior minister to him because she's out in the country. I think she has.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people saying that she should become the junior minister of local government. That wouldn't be my first choice for her, but I hear a lot of people saying that. So let's see.
So which portfolio would you give to?
He has a job, and when will he name it? Tomorrow?
Yes, they will be sworn in at 2 tomorrow at King's House.
All right, after that, we'll discuss and see where we go from there. But I think Jamaica is on the right trajectory. I don't want to see a lot of shaking up in this cabinet. They have done well, but I think it needs a couple of people. And as Mr. Morgan said, just to boost the thing, put a little more spice into it, and let's see where we're going the next 5 years.
All right, Eric.
I was saying, based on your explanation, I don't think we're apart on this. You see expansion of the cabinet beyond just adding ministers. That's what I refer to as expanding the cabinet, because I believe there are portfolios that should be split. I see this as an expansion of the cabinet as well, because you'd be increasing the number of ministries. As you said, that super ministry of telecommunications, science, energy, transport and mining as well.
No, mining
is in agriculture.
Yes.
But that ministry needs to be cut in at least 2 pieces at the minimum. So I think we're on the same pages, and there should be an expansion in terms of the number of portfolio responsibilities in fewer concentrated hands, and just a boost in the number of ministers as well.
Yeah.
Papa Nana.
Good evening to you both.
Good evening.
As usual, you have to take over from certain people and help me out, because you can't know when certain people here just take them, they go bed early. You know?
What is certain people now?
No, I can't no name because them have the angle and me no really want to go cut me out. You know, really go say anything. But anyway, anytime you see me, so you would tell him hold it for me.
You know you're a troublemaker, Papa Dada?
No?
Cliff live his best life, yeah?
Well, listen to me now.
Yes.
Me want you help me out, and me can't stay long because I know a whole lot of people will quarrel. But you have some labor rights where some of them believe that anytime you have anything to say, you must go and ask them. And that me not really like with some of them, but that's not really your business. But what I am saying, you don't have a feeling that 63 candidate MP is too much for the country.
No. In fact, I'd probably add a few more, if I'm being very honest.
You would add a few more?
Yeah, because I think...
You'd split up more constituencies.
Yes, I think at least 2 constituencies I can think of, I think could be cut to create, more seats.
Okay, well, all right. That is your views.
Yeah,
Let me ask you something.
Like East Rural St. Andrew, I would cut that. I would also cut West Rural St. Andrew. Those are big.
How many seats are in the Trinidadian and Tobago?
45, I think.
And they're relative to our size. A little smaller, I understand, but they're relative to our size.
I think it's 45 in Trinidad. And they have about 1 million people. Yeah, they're about 1 million plus, yeah. Yes.
All right. Let me ask you let me ask you something, Mr. Both of you are. We know that if a man dog bites you, you cannot make a complaint to the dog. You have to make it to the owner of the dog. Not true? Right. But suppose when you make the complaint to the owner of the dog, you get to find out that the owner and the dog is the same. Where you go from there?
How much is it? 41. I don't know, the police. I don't know.
That's a very tough question.
Yes, and the police, I think.
Tell the police. All right, that's the only way out. All right. Let me tell you something. All the Prime Minister is trying for peace and unity with the opposition. How can you trust somebody who says something today and tomorrow him differ from what him say? How can you trust an unstable mind? It is all good and well him shake him hand and him say, yes, we are all for unity. Tomorrow morning, Mr. Golden is going to say something different. He's not a stable mind type of person, and a lot of you people, when we try to say something, you beat me down and say this and that. But you see me now, you see me, Papa Nana, anytime me I say nothing, as long as me now get this a Cliff Hughes in no trouble now, anyhow no, in no trouble. Me I go express my feeling. Mr. Golden have a personal feeling that carry for the Prime Minister. When I talk, me different from certain people, you know. Because we see him do a thing where a lot of people as journalists bypass.
What that?
Him rode into the debate with a bogus demonstration paper, and none of you people take the paper and look on it to see what was on it, and he get away.
No, but
with
Papa
that.
Nana, I agreed with you when you first raised it that the journalists who were there should have asked to see the document. I agreed with you. I didn't object to that. I think that was you were fair in that. The journalists should have verified. I agree. I'm not saying no to that. But what I don't agree with you, on Papa Nana, is that you can claim that it is bogus.
Listen to me.
You can't make that claim, but you are right to say that the journalist should have looked at it.
Listen to me.
Yes.
It is a fair demonstration and registration paper that you went there with.
No, Papa Nana. No, Papa Nana. I don't have no such evidence, so I can't make you say that, Papa Nana.
No, but if you did want the evidence, you would have taken the paper and look on it.
My name there. Remember, say them blacklist me, no?
Oh, yes. Oh, God. Oh, yes. Well,
you see? You come and rub salt on my woods and then people say, no, want me at them place.
Oh, God. Ask Diane Jackson Miller. She would have known. It is a fake registration paper. I am telling you. And Mr. Onis have a vendetta for the Prime Minister, because, and I'm not talking about no color, I'm not talking about who they are.
No, Papa Nana, I wouldn't want to.
He should have been the Prime Minister, not Mr. Golding.
I wouldn't want to ascribe ill motive to Mr. Golding, and I can't prove that the paper bogus, but I agree with you. The journalists there, all of them, should have asked to see the document.
Change it then. It is not bogus, it is a fake registration.
I don't think that is better, Papa Nana, but you go on now. I'll leave you behind now. I'm going on. Thank you for the call, Papa Nana. Chris.
Greetings, gentlemen.
How are you?
I am very well, thank you, sir. Very well.
Were you at the swearing-in?
I wasn't there, but I tuned in on the...
You couldn't make it down from the Republic of Montego Bay? But what did you make of it?
I think it was excellent.
Yes.
I think the Prime Minister's presentation was spot on. That's the tone you really wanted. It was balanced with a little bit of humor and poke a few jabs at the opposition as well. But I think the more fundamental part of the message was where he wants to take Jamaica, and that's what the focus is on. I think it was an excellent presentation, and I must congratulate the Jamaica Labour Party and the Prime Minister for winning the elections, and we believe that, I personally believe that Jamaica is in safe hands going forward. Based on what we've seen in the last cabinet, we know that this government is going to do great things for Jamaica.
Yes.
I can't say that, though, without pointing out that we must take note of the opposition members coming in and the posture of the opposition leader. And if the posture of the opposition leader is anything to go by, you can expect a very, very tough period to govern.
And when you say the posture, what are you referring to?
Well, it's what pertains in the campaign leading up to the elections and even after the elections. If that is anything for us to go by, then you can prepare yourself for not just a robust debate in the Parliament, but for it to be, how should I put it, for it to be a lot of obstruction, a lot of delay tactics, a lot of blocking of things. I think most of what is required in terms of opposition participation is going to be none. It's going to be null. I don't think we're going to get any support from the opposition based on their posture. But I will always revert to 2016 when we had a one-seat majority, and I think that period of governance was an excellent period. So I have every confidence.
But you accept that this is a different PNP.
There you go.
And I hope history will treat Mrs. Simpson Miller well, because even though on the night of that election she did not concede on the night, but she quickly conceded once the EOJ had settled the count, and she did not, to her credit, my recollection is that she was not obstructionist at all.
No, and I think even with Dr.
Phillips, yes.
Dr. Phillips was never an obstructionist either.
Is true, yes.
But so that's my biggest fear, is that we will not get as much as we need to get done based on the posture of the opposition. But again, I have confidence that the government will know how to maneuver themselves.
Yeah, because the truth is, Chris, and I want people to be seized of this, because I see the narrative that, the government might have a difficulty. The truth is, as Siobhan will tell you as a parliamentary reporter, you just need a bare minimum to pass laws. It is where the entrenched matters related to the Constitution might come up that would cause a problem. But a 7-seat majority, let's say you take out the Speaker, you have 6 seats. That's comfortable in terms of passing everyday legislation. It's just how the Parliament functions, the oversight committees, where you might find a little bit of trouble.
And I think that the government has to now look back at the past. 2 things. You have to look at how we govern in the last period as a government, and we also have to focus on how the party functions. Because one of the biggest problems we had last period, gentlemen, is that we did not walk on true gum as we should have.
In terms of the governance and the politics?
Yes. We were excellent at governance, but we fell short in terms of the political activities. And not that we didn't, because we really did a lot to catch up. And we really did a lot. When you compare the political activities to previous JLP government, you would have seen a significant improvement. A little bit late, but it happened. So I'm hoping now that we're not waiting for another 4 year leading up. Because let me tell you one thing I noticed, gentlemen. This campaign that we had, where the Prime Minister was going around doing all these workers' awards and all that stuff, the only reason we had to do that, is because the political activities and the political work by the individual MPs were not on point. Because if that political work was on point, there would have been no need for the Prime Minister to be going around doing all that stuff. So I'm hoping that the party will now put a system in place to hold the members of Parliament accountable, or will hold the members of the party accountable, that the political work is being done while we govern. There's no issue with us governing. I know that we're going to get governance right. But we cannot govern. The first order of business is for us to form government. If we don't form government, we cannot govern.
All right,
so we
Chris.
have to now walk on true gum. Congratulations again to the Jamaica Labour Party and the Honourable 1 p.m.
Hear you. Thanks for the call.
What Chris just described is the work of the Secretariat of the party. And, to the credit of Horace Chang, he has shown that he has the chops for that work in terms of mobilizing the party at a political level.
Right, but I think Chris is also right that the different MPs need to ensure that they put in the work so that the work of the Secretariat is made that much, easier.
Yeah, because I can recall quite a few fires that the Secretariat had to put out over the period of the last campaign.
Yeah, that's true. 630-9371 to 461888255. Natalie.
Yes, good afternoon. My first time on Nationwide.
Hi, Natalie. Welcome. You should call more often.
Yes, and I want to big up my Uncle Cliff Hughes.
I think he's listening. He's all the way over there in China, but yes.
Yes, he is. And I love that. One fundamental point that he made in his conversation that rings true to the two political parties. That political parties, in order to gain state power in this country, you need to organize.
Yes.
Right? You need to organize your runners.
Yes.
Your indoor agents. And I don't mean just organizing color and excitement and all of that, so that I've been seeing all over the island. I mean organize with the teeth in order to win state power. Because I see some seats on both sides of the fence. That were won by less than 200 votes.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
People were looking for people like Mr. Norman Dunn. That was a shocker. Anne-Marie Vaz and Tamika Davis, Omar Davis.
Yes.
And people who you expected Hanover to come in. People who had also written off the chairman of the party, Mr. Montague.
Yes.
They had written off Mr. Montague that I said, boy, Bobby not coming home this time, but they really rally around That is what you call organization. The organization from both sides of the fence wins election.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear a lot of people underestimating Marky G with enough respect, Mark Golding, Mr. Mark Golding.
Yes.
Mark is a strategist because some of the seats that the JLP had, if you had 14 things, if you had 14 seats and you have now 28, it simply means that the PNP went out and they organized. No matter what you want to say about Marky G or Mr. Golding or whatever, he went out there and he organized his people. He organizes his
base.
His people and his activists around the country, and they did do their work.
Yes, Mark Golding deserves credit for having galvanized the PNP's base. Yes.
So when this big celebration going over about I won, yes, the JLP picked up 35, but they had 49, and they're down to 35. So that simply means that if they want to be up there and really celebrating landslide, whatever, stop this foolishness about I win, this. In order to get state power and to keep it, and to keep the organization at the top ship, they need to organize, and power to Horace Chang. But Horace Chang and Andrew Weeks, they can't do it all by themselves.
Yes.
All the MPs, all the candidates need to get in their constituencies and organize if they want to keep.
Hear you, Natalie.
And Mr. Golding, enough respect. Regardless, you did well.
All right.
And nobody can challenge you on that. I hear some names coming out that they want Marky G position.
Oh, yeah? Like who?
They can't test him.
Like who? Who for me here?
Him. No, man, several names. I'm not going to call any names.
Oh.
But Marky G, you did your best. So nobody can test.
That could work as a slogan. Marky G, nobody can test.
You did your best.
All
and
right.
Power to Andrew. You pulled it off. You got 35. And I congratulate you on it. But organization wins election.
Yes.
And I look forward to the 4th term or the 5th term. So whatever
all
it is.
All right, Natalie, I hear you.
You know, before we go to the next caller, a lot of people keep pointing out this matter that, yes, the party lost X amount of seats in the 2025 general election, but we keep comparing it to 2020, which I think almost any political commentator would say that was not normal.
Outlier, yes.
That was not a normal election.
Yes.
And I mean, compare it though to 2016, he's actually improved his position.
He has Dr. Holness.
Yes, he has 3 more seats than he did in 2016.
Yes.
He scored about 7,000 more votes in the popular vote compared to 2016. And he essentially has a larger majority in the parliament versus 2016. Yeah. So, I mean, I'm not suggesting that they have not lost some points in terms of the 2020 elections, but let's not compare it to that one, because that one is an outlier beyond outliers. I think this is more in keeping with the parliamentary process in terms of where the party has positioned itself coming out of the September 3 polls.
Fair. Kenyatta?
Hello?
Yes, Kenyatta. Good evening.
Ricardo Wagwan, good evening.
Good evening.
Stefan, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
How are you guys?
Doing all right.
All right. Two points I want to make, right?
Yes.
I noticed that when the panel, when you guys had the panel discussion earlier,
yes,
included, you asked a question about succession.
Yes.
And to me, everybody danced around it.
Okay.
Everybody kind of danced around it because, in my opinion, the conversation should start now for Andrew to start plan his exit.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think Andrew will end up like Siaga where him outstay him welcome. You understand? The people them love him and the people them care for him. But we have to also remember that Andrew also campaigned a couple elections ago on term limits. That has not been discussed. Right? It was not a bone of contention in this election. Right? So that is something that we need to put together to ensure that the democracy of the country continue. And also, I think Andrew has done enough to cement his legacy. So he should not be worried about his legacy. And you have bright and capable people in the party now, or you can find brilliant people to fill the gap. So I think while he's doing the rounds now of getting the country moving in a particular direction, that we both, that I understand and appreciate, that conversation need to be had. Maybe not in the public, but at some point when he's relaxing and try to figure stuff out, that is something that he should think about. And what I think he should do, if I was advising him, would be within the first 2 years, work his socks off, get the country in the direction that he wants it to go in, and then summon Nigel Clark to come home within 3 years and give him an opportunity to cement himself back into the party, leave within 3.5 years, and give him a year and a half, if he can, 2 years, to assume the leadership of the party and become our next prime minister.
Kenyatta,
that is what I would suggest.
Kenyatta, it's amazing when I think about Ricardo Brooks from 2016 and Ricardo Brooks in 2025, because I supported term limits, and I don't know if it's maturing, but the older I get, let me put it that way, the less convinced I am that it is a good thing. Let me tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
There's an artificial way in which imposed term limits, can short circuit the democratic process, right? Because if the Jamaican people, right, in their wisdom, decide that Andrew Holness or anybody else, right, ought to continue, what exactly is the good argument for the Constitution imposing an exit when that is not what the Jamaican people want? Obviously there's something to be balanced, because you don't want somebody in office until them is 80 something or
until they're
right
demonstrably unfit to
serve. They can't continue. But it's a difficult question in my mind now when somebody like Andrew Holness is 53, and I'm not saying Andrew Holness must serve a fourth term, but I'm saying the conversation about term limits, I think we need to have it again, and I would want to hear the argument. If the argument is renewal for renewal's own sake, I don't think that's persuasive, because
it might.
Let me just finish, because I think about people like Barack Obama, for example. I mean, some people were obviously against his continued presidency, but did he have more to give to the American people? Absolutely. But an imposed term limit ended his time in office. So I'd want us as a country to have that conversation again, but I don't think the idea of limits for their own sake and renewal for its own sake is necessarily the best approach. But I hear you, and I think the argument about renewal is important, but I don't think I want to give a knee-jerk reaction anymore to say, yes, term limits are absolutely a good thing.
And I think the environment, in terms of political history, where this matter of term limits came about, is from a period where much of the world was governed by monarchy.
Yes.
And the more nascent days of democracy, when we were just starting out, this idea of, I think it was George Washington, who they said could have ruled for life if he wanted, but he set the example, after 2 terms, we're done. And he set that principle, which later became this matter on which we base term limits on. But we're in a different period of time where I think the democratic process, in terms of how it's practiced in a free and fair society, it circuit breaks the need for a virtual term limit. Because if you're really tired of a leader, you will remove that leader.
Well, fair point. Both points are fair points, but I think that we have to mature as a nation. We have to mature as a country, and
But Kenyatta, hold on. But Kenyatta, isn't that the point though? Because if we're maturing, why would you need the short circuit constitutional stricture to say somebody has to leave office? Because if you say we're maturing, shouldn't we be mature enough to know when it's time to boot the person? Yeah, man, go ahead.
Let me respond to you. I came to Jamaica August 23rd.
Yes.
And I left the day after the election.
Yes.
I campaigned across 4 constituencies. 3 of them middle class.
Yes.
And one you can say, call it a ghetto community, right?
Yes.
And by the way, you see that question you asked about how you get people to get people to back to voting.
Mm-hmm.
Both parties have to engage the middle class.
Yes.
And let me tell you why I say that. Across 3 of the constituencies, right? As I said, they're considered to be affluent and middle class communities. And some days going door to door, other days on the campaign, reaching out, moving along with candidates and other people. You'll reach out to some of those people who are middle class, right? And 2 common things kept on coming up. One is that people want to see a change. Some of the people get tired of the same Andrew back and forth, right? And it's time for a change. So the renewal, what that said to me is that people want renewal. No, it can be that the propaganda that was being propagated by the PNP get to most of those people in terms of Andrew and the nonsense they were saying about the Integrity Commission, right? Might be that. But one of the common themes was that renewal, right? And a second thing, they were saying that the member of parliament don't reach out to the middle class, right? They're just, we look a boy in them office and them go around and some look night and some stuff. Them don't reach out to the more affluent people and try to get them into the process, right? So those are things that they need to figure out, right? But the main conversation.
But Kenyatta, can I ask you?
People. Sure.
When you say don't reach out to the middle class, what does that mean?
I think if you when you look at, as I said, in 3 of the communities that I was open about it, even some of the MPs, when they go to their constituency offices, I just some come on a robot them and make and a linger around, right? Affluent people who are gonna work and come home and see that they're not gonna go engage the member of parliament because they feel like them supposed to deal with that. You understand? I'm not talking to you as raw as possible.
Yeah, but I don't know. I'm sorry, Kenyatta, that strikes me as extremely classist. Let me be very frank. And I think that's part of the problem I have with the quote-unquote middle class in this country, is that they see politics as something dirty and ugly. And, you're above it all and better than. And I don't know if I have a lot of patience for that, because if it is...
I don't see that way.
I'm not saying you directly. I'm not saying you directly. But if it is that people want to be engaged or they want to reach out to their member of parliament because you see somebody who you think is not of a particular stature rallying around the legislator, or that shouldn't stop you.
But I think the balance, there has to be a balance. Let me put it that way. There has to be a balance in how we do it, right? There has to be a balance, because one of the reasons why we were having, like in some elections where you have a lot of people coming out to vote, because in the Garrison community, man used to go to people and make them most of them have to go vote.
Yes.
So people never go vote because they really don't want to vote, And the middle class people, them used to go vote. But it's like it's a switch now, where the middle class people them now go vote because whatever reason. And I get the people them I make up a bag of night and listen to me. I get to youth. I Churchtown, no born and grow. See, between Churchtown and Rosefort. So me cannot be classist in any capacity as I get to you.
Yeah,
no.
I have to.
I'm just telling you.
Yeah, man. No, I understand. I have to take another call, but let me say this. I have far more respect for the ghetto people who go to the rallies, who go on the motorcades, who engage in the political. I have far more respect for them than anybody who sits online and complains or sits at home and complains. I have way more respect because let me tell you something.
You have to strike a balance.
Fine, but I don't know that that balance comes down on the member of parliament has to come and find me. We are citizens of the country and we also have a responsibility. If you think that there's something that needs to be done and you have a representative, bring it to the representative's attention. And you know where to find the representatives. And it shouldn't be. And I'm saying we have to demand more from the Jamaican people. It shouldn't be that because you see somebody wrote them and Miguel, then that means you can disengage from the process. No. And last thing I'll say, when I think about election day, right? Just the sheer logistics of it, ghetto people could probably run a company. Because, look at this. Between 7 o'clock in the morning and 5 o'clock in the afternoon, those same quote-unquote ghetto people move up to 10,000 people in a very organized, systematic way to the polls. That is extraordinary logistics. Absolutely. So I would say, put some respect on the ghetto people name. Thank you for the call, Kenyatta. I appreciate it.
Before we go to the next call, this thing that I don't know if I agree with that argument in terms of what the middle class, why they're turned off from the voting process. Because I remember in 2015, 2016, when we're leading up to that campaign, I remember one of my first assignments was to go and talk to then opposition leader, not doctor at the time, but Andrew Holness at the time, and I asked him a question: what separates the Jamaica Labour Party from the People's National Party? Because I believe that is the fundamental issue that plagues middle class individuals. They don't believe, and I'm not saying all, but a lot of them do not believe that a change in the government will impact their life in
so
any
the policy
way.
prescription.
Yes, and I think the middle class always feel as if it's being squeezed by those who have the haves and the have-nots who tend to get the more focus of the political directorate.
Which is,
and if you remember what came out of the 2016 campaign with the 1.5,
So perhaps I would agree there with Kenyatta that the balance then is probably how the politicians structure policy to better appeal to the middle class, But I still hold that we as middle class people, we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility.
Yes, a civic duty, as I've said it before.
Absolutely, to be a part of the process. Carl.
Evening, Sharon. Evening, Ricardo.
Good evening.
Now that the government get another mandate, he should, as the Prime Minister said this evening, he asks Golding to come back to the table to bring back the country, to take the country back from the yard of England and make we become a republic.
Yes.
I agree with him there. Next thing the Prime Minister need to take back to the Parliament immediately. The people gave him the mandate to lead for 5 more years. I mean, they said, if people want to tell me that 39% people vote, the Jamaica Labour Party get a mandate to govern.
Yes.
So the Prime Minister and Mr. Weekly did say them outturn some part of Portmore into another parish that need to come back on the front burner. The government have a mandate. The people approve of the Jamaica Labour Party.
Yes.
So it is now the government choice. Come next week, Tuesday, when they sit back, or whenever time they for October, then go sit back. You need to come back on the front burner of the Parliament and get a full mandate from the people of Jamaica. What you have to say about that?
Yes,
move on.
Yes, I mean, I said it before and I say it again. Yes, I don't think there can be any question now that the government was firmly committed to this and the people returned the government to power. So yeah, the government has the right to pursue it. Yes, I think so.
Right.
That's an idealistic approach.
Sorry?
My only
idealistic approach. I don't think it's idealistic at all. It is clearly part of their platform. It's clearly something that they said they were going to do.
No, but do you believe that the opposition will fall in line?
Oh, no, that's a different question. Right, yeah, that's a different question. Right, that's a different question.
Chef, that's a different question.
Right, yeah.
The opposition did not get a mandate. It's the government, which is the Jamaica Labour Party, get a mandate to lead, not to follow opposition, to lead. So whatever the opposition want to say, that's the opposition. The people rejected them. If the people never agree with what the government was doing, then them would have been government. It's evening. But the people rejected them suggestion. So the government must lead from the front. My only disappointment in this evening is that whosoever organized the thing didn't organize that song. Look at me now. Look what amount of beating and lie I was lied upon, spat upon. And look at me now. Me is your boss. That is the song should have played this evening. That is my only disappointment with the ceremony this evening. That song should have played. Because what Andrew Holness went through within a year and a half, me couldn't do it. I don't know what left for Dayton Campbell and the white man did to that man. And him stomach all of it. And the white man have to sit over this evening and look at him. Put in signature. Third time, fourth time. And he couldn't, he had to sit down and take that. We rejected him. And we have to move on fastly. What is happening to all the civil society in Jamaica? Ricardo.
What do you mean?
What you mean? There was a charge Friday gone. Right here, so Friday gone. For a mayor come from Spanish Town in St. Elizabeth. And all of the human rights, nobody can hear nothing out of one of them mouth. What is happening?
Yeah, I have to admit that there's a certain inconsistency regarding this matter. Obviously, in the previous matter that the civil society groups raised hell and high water about, there was no criminal charge. Yeah, that has to be said. Of course, you would know, Carl. I was one of the persons. Siobhan, I think, also said that George Wright should indicate.
George Wright, Mr. Wright.
Yes, should indicate.
I spoke to him Friday.
Yeah, that he should have indicated whether he was the man on the video. He did not. In this case, the police have laid a charge.
A charge?
Yes. So I think consistency and fairness would demand the same questions, if not higher and greater questions being raised.
And Duncan Sutherland went all the way to Westmoreland to tell the people that George Wright must not sit back inside Jamaica Parliament. So what then going to do with the mayor for St. Catherine?
Spanish Town, yeah. It's a fair question. It's a fair question, and I also note that some of my colleagues in the media, who also created quite a storm, have been
everybody
silent.
gone to say, because here now, some of them found 2 Wednesdays ago still have running belly.
I don't know about that, but what I will say...
We put back the Jamaica Labour Party. Ricardo, you don't have to answer this one.
No,
please.
Nobody disparage nobody in the media. What I am saying is, stick to the substantive point, and I think you are spot on and dead right, that there is an inconsistency here, and the inconsistency is troubling because it suggests that those people were not acting in good faith, that it was a partisan call,
right?
And that is uncomfortable. Yes, I agree with that.
Because the man is we can't talk it no. The mayor is no charge. Before that we couldn't open our mouth, but now him being charged, and Golden said he did want to lead a government with integrity.
Again, though, fair, a charge doesn't mean guilt.
I did not say
no,
that.
yes. So again, all I want now is just for consistency.
Right.
Consistency.
He must step aside and go clear him name.
Well, yes, that was the call for George Wright to do, eh?
That was the call for George Wright.
Okay, fair. Yes. Yes.
And then sometimes when we stop and think over some things when we say happen, we have to wonder, what is this opposition? And that's why them be rejected at the poll again.
All right,
Carl. Because they're not consistent with what they're saying.
Here you go.
They only say some things to say they could have get a power.
The time has come to take another call. Thank you, Carl.
All right.
Chris, another Chris.
Who's Jamaica?
Oh, Lord have mercy. Chris. All right, 630-937-124-618-8255. Yeah, I think Carl is right.
I agree.
I have been wondering. The silence is deafening and it is uncomfortable. And again, I said it before, Siobhan, I am usually a person who likes to give the benefit of the doubt. You know that I do that, Siobhan. But in the face of the evidence, it becomes increasingly difficult. There were voices who were strident in media, in civil society. We here were part of it. We were also strong.
And the opposition itself has been silent on the matter as well.
I mean, a charge is that's a high bar, and if the bar of not being able to prove that it was George Wright warranted the cause that came from those quarters, I don't see how.
And warranted is excising from the jail.
Yes, and remember, a daily newspaper had a running count on social media. How many days it has been since X or Y, and it's inconsistent, and the inconsistency without an explanation, people are going to ask questions, and I think those are reasonable questions. Marston? No. Good night.
Yes,
turn off the radio, Marston.
Hello?
You're listening to the radio. Turn off the radio.
Yeah, just want to make an observation here.
Yes.
The Carl who spoke just now, I think you guys might not have been listening keenly to what he was saying, because I know what you stand for on the station.
What was he saying?
The caller or Carl? Which one is I was
the one who just called.
The caller, okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm saying he needs to understand that the Prime Minister is a servant to the people of the country. And he needs to understand that the Prime Minister has a responsibility to serve the two parties. He needs also to understand that Jamaica comprises of two parties. I mean, people voting from two sides. And whoever formed the government has a responsibility to the Prime Minister, to everybody.
What did he say? What did he say that's a? Yeah, I'm saying what did he say that suggested to you that he was saying the Prime Minister should? What did he say that suggested to you?
He said things like the people rejected the opposition.
That's a fact.
And things like that. Mark, I wouldn't say it's reject, because you see, you have to be careful how the average person interprets things like those.
How do you interpret it?
I'm just saying that it's time enough that Jamaicans realize that, listen, I've been here long enough, and I've been trying to advise and encourage people how to think and to live. And I believe in unity, and that's what we really need in this country.
No, but hold on. If there's let me quote something Siobhan said to me earlier today. There are no second prizes or second place trophies in politics. If you lose an election, you've been rejected. That's a fact.
And recall,
I mean, it might sound harsh, and I think that's the problem with how it sounds, but it's true. You lost. A majority of the people, whether it be 10,000, 3,000, 5,000, 1,000, said no.
And just to recall, caller, the People's National Party is not recognized in the House of Representatives. At the point that you become an MP, you serve the people of Jamaica, and as a part, you form the government and you serve as the Prime Minister. You serve the people of Jamaica. You don't serve the Jamaica Labour Party, and you don't serve the People's National Party. So I have an issue with you categorizing that the Prime Minister must serve the two parties. I understand what you're suggesting, that he must serve people of all stripes.
And I didn't hear Carl suggest anything that said the Prime Minister
shouldn't. The point I'm making is that whosoever is in power has a responsibility to serve the people of the country.
Yes. I think everybody agrees with that.
Everybody.
Yes, I think everybody agrees with that.
That's the point. So I don't think Jamaicans get it generally. If PNP in power, I don't think the comrades get it, because I've been around for a long time. When JLP is in power, I don't think the Laborites get it. I mean, not everybody, but
I don't agree with you on that. I don't agree with you that.
I think we need to get there where the average person understands that, listen, people have their choices. But at the end of the day, the same people that, the other side, they are taxpayers like yourself.
Yes, my brother, and everybody agrees with that.
The government has an obligation.
An absolute obligation.
To them like anybody else. But I don't think in the kind of conversations you hear it is coming out. So I'm just saying maybe,
let me say this. I think what it is that supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party, like Carl, felt that Andrew Holness was treated unfairly in a lot of ways.
No, I'm not talking about one party, I'm just saying.
Oh no, but you started by taking a swipe at Nationwide, which I ignored.
A trend in the country.
No. Hold on. You're trying to shift now. Hold on. You started by taking a swipe at Nationwide about us not listening carefully because of our.
I didn't take a swipe.
Yes, you did. No, you did. You said because of our position. I don't know what that means. But
I didn't say that.
To be
That's
fair
how you started.
To be fair to the caller, I think when he said he did say in terms of our position, but I don't think he meant it in terms of a partisan way. I think he meant in terms of our position as a intellectual radio station. Am I wrong, caller?
No, I was saying
I think that stretches it, Siobhan.
How you interact and respond to the callers. That's what I really was trying to get at. Because
I see.
Many people don't seem to understand the whole government at the station. Many people don't understand the importance of nationhood, what is going to get us there to achieve the destiny the Prime Minister is talking about.
Yeah.
One party can't get us there. People need to understand that it is all of us together. That's the point I'm making.
And we agree with you, my brother, wholeheartedly.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Have a good one. Just to correct something, Siobhan, just before we run. Trinidad's parliament has 41 seats in the House of Representatives. I said 45. It's 41.
I see we have to wrap up, but just to say quickly that I don't know if I share the caller's suggestion, but what I do note is that we have a bad habit in our political system of otherizing those who belong to a different political stripe. I do have a problem with that. The song that was popular throughout the campaign from the PNP about we don't care what the Laborites say, I never liked that line, because I think you should care what your political opponents say, because they're people and they're Jamaicans who also have...
Remember the objective of the song.
I know the objective.
To galvanize the
I think you should care.
Absolutely.
When it comes to a body politic and you're trying to appeal to a wider demographic, you should care what your opponents say. You should care what the person says and their political affiliation, beyond just saying, well, they're a Laborite or they're a comrade, and therefore I don't give a crap what you say.
I agree with you, Siobhan. But no, if there was any question, let me make it clear. Nobody, and I certainly wouldn't suggest that a Prime Minister should only govern for the people who supported his party. Absolutely not. No. That's all the time we have. Thank you so much to our hard-working producer. She needs a round of applause. We had Norgay with us this afternoon. All our colleagues in the newsroom today, Siobhan, thank you all so much for your support as always and your hard work. Bugs, the man behind the control, the pilot, thank you, sir. All our panelists, contributors, sponsors, or YouTubers, you out there in Radioland, and if you're listening online, thank you so much. Remember to download the Revo News app and visit revonews.ai for all of today's happenings. I'm Ricardo Brooks.
And I'm Siobhan Campbell.
Good evening.